My name is Samantha Reese. I'm 35. 3 weeks ago, security called me at the nurse's station. "Ma'am, your father's at the gate. He says it's a family emergency." My hands went cold. I hadn't spoken to my parents in 5 years. 5 years since I stood on their porch with my 4-year-old daughter and one smoke-stained suitcase. 5 years since the wildfires took everything I owned. 5 years since my mother's voice came through their Ring doorbell camera and said, "We're resting, Samantha. She's too loud." The door never opened. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I picked up that suitcase, buckled my crying daughter into a borrowed car, and drove away. I thought that was the end. But here's what I didn't know while that door stayed closed. My parents were opening another one, a door to my bank account, to my insurance payout, to $285,000 that was supposed to rebuild my life. And by the time I found out, it was already gone. Let me take you back. November 2019, Northern California. I was 30 years old, working as an ICU nurse at Providence Valley Medical Center. Single mom. My daughter Lily had just turned 4. We lived in Ridgeview, a small town about 40 minutes from the hospital. Nothing fancy. A rental house. 2 bedrooms. But it was ours. Lily had her own room painted purple. I had a garden in the back. We were safe. Until we weren't. November 13th. I was ending a 12-hour shift when my coworker grabbed my arm. "Sam, they're evacuating Ridgeview. You need to go. Now." I looked out the hospital windows. The sky was orange. Ash was falling like snow. I ran to my car. Called Lily's daycare. Busy signal. Called again. Busy. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. The radio kept saying the same thing over and over. "Mandatory evacuation for all Ridgeview residents. This is not a drill. If you are in the evacuation zone, leave immediately." Traffic was stopped. Completely stopped. People were abandoning their cars on the highway, running. I could see the smoke now. Thick and black and moving fast. I left my car. Just left it there with the keys in the ignition. Ran the last mile to the daycare on foot. Ash in my lungs. Sirens everywhere. The sky was red. Lily's teacher was standing outside with 3 kids. Lily saw me and started crying. Not scared crying. Relief crying. She thought I wasn't coming. I grabbed her and ran. We made it to the evacuation route. A sheriff's deputy waved us through. I looked back once. Just once. I could see the flames. They were already in town. We slept in my car that night at a rest stop 2 hours away. Lily kept coughing from the smoke. I held her and watched the news on my phone. By 6 a.m., they were showing aerial footage of Ridgeview. 90% of structures destroyed. I pulled up a map, zoomed in on our street. It was just ash. Gray nothing where our house used to be. Lily woke up and asked, "Mommy, is our house gone?" I didn't know how to answer, so I just said, "We're okay, we're safe. That's what matters." But everything else? Gone. Her purple room, my scrubs, our photos, the stuffed elephant she'd had since she was a baby, the garden, every single thing we owned except what I'd grabbed in those 30 seconds before we ran. One suitcase with some clothes, my purse, my work badge. That was it. That was everything we had left. I called my insurance company that morning. They said the same thing everyone was saying. "We're processing claims as fast as we can. It could take 6 to 8 months. Do you have somewhere to stay?" I didn't. I tried calling friends. They were evacuating too. I tried calling my ex-husband, Lily's dad. Voicemail full. He'd checked out of fatherhood the year before. I hadn't heard from him in months. I sat in that car at the rest stop and thought about who else I could call. And I thought about my parents. Charles and Diane Whitmore. They lived in Sacramento, about 2 hours away. They had a 4-bedroom house in a nice suburb called Rosewood Heights. Guest room, savings, retired. My dad had been a bank manager. My mom had sold real estate. We weren't close. We hadn't been close in years. They didn't approve of my divorce. Didn't like that I was raising Lily alone. Thought I'd made bad choices. But they were my parents. And Lily was their granddaughter. And we had nowhere else to go. So I called. My mom answered. I could hear the TV in the background. Some cooking show. Mom, it's Sam. The wildfires hit Ridgeview. Our house is gone. We're okay, but we don't have anywhere to stay. Can we? Oh, Samantha. That tone. That disappointed, inconvenienced tone. How awful. Have you tried FEMA? The shelters are full. I just need a few days. Just until I can figure out. Let me talk to your father. She put the phone down. I could hear them talking. Muffled. Then she came back. Samantha, we're really not set up for house guests right now. Have you called your ex? This really should be between you two. I felt something crack in my chest. Mom, Justin's not in the picture. You know that. I'm asking you, please. Lily's 4 years old. She's scared. We have nowhere to. I understand this is difficult, but we have our own lives. Your father and I are retired. We've earned our peace and quiet. Maybe try a hotel? A hotel? With what money? I hung up. Lily was watching me. Who is that? Nobody, baby. Let's go find us a place to stay. I used a credit card I couldn't afford to use and got a room at a Red Roof Inn, $89 a night. The room smelled like cigarettes and bleach. There was one bed and a pull-out couch that didn't pull out all the way. But it was a roof. We stayed there for 3 days. I picked up shifts at the hospital. They were desperate for staff because half the nurses had evacuated too. Lily stayed in a new daycare 40 minutes away. I was working 16-hour days and sleeping 4 hours a night and spending money I didn't have. On the 4th day, I tried again. I didn't call this time. I drove to their house. It was late, almost midnight. I'd just gotten off shift. Lily was asleep in the car seat. I had that one suitcase in the trunk. It still smelled like smoke. I stood on their porch and rang the doorbell. I could see the Ring camera, the little red light blinking, recording. I could hear movement inside. The porch light was on. They could see me perfectly. Mom, Dad, it's Sam. We need help, just for a few days. Nothing. I rang again, then my mother's voice, not from inside the house, from the speaker on the Ring camera. Samantha, it's almost midnight. I know, I'm sorry, I just got off work. The motel's too expensive and I can't keep. Your father and I were resting. We have book club in the morning. Lily woke up, started crying. She was confused and tired and the porch light was too bright. Mom, please. She's 4 years old. She's your granddaughter. The house is gone. Everything's gone. We just need. And Lily is very loud. We're not set up for children anymore. I felt Lily's hand grab my scrub pants. She was looking up at me with these huge, scared eyes. Mom, she's been through a trauma. She's not. This isn't a good time, Samantha. Try a motel. Or maybe call your ex-husband. This is really between you two. We'll talk when things calm down. She's too loud. That's what my mother said. About her 4-year-old granddaughter who just lost everything in a wildfire. Too loud. And then, click. The speaker went silent. I stood there. 30 seconds. Maybe a minute. Waiting for the door to open. Waiting for her to say she was joking. Waiting for anything. The red light kept blinking. Recording. But the door didn't move. Lily pulled on my pants. Grandma doesn't want us? I picked up that smoke-stained suitcase. I picked up my daughter. And I walked back to the car. I didn't knock again. I didn't call again. I didn't cry. I was too tired to cry. I drove us back to the Red Roof Inn, buckled Lily into the pull-out couch that didn't pull out, lay down on the floor because there wasn't room for both of us on the bed, and I made a promise to myself and to my daughter. I would never ask them for help again. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known while I was lying on that motel room floor, was that they were already helping themselves. To my future. 8 months later. 8 months of motels and shelters and working every shift I could get, and putting Lily in whatever daycare had space, and eating ramen and checking my bank account every single day. The insurance company finally called. Ms. Reese, good news. Your claim has been approved. Total loss settlement, $285,000. We'll be transferring the funds to your account on file within 3 to 5 business days. I actually cried. Happy tears. Relief tears. $285,000. It wasn't just money, it was a deposit on an apartment. Furniture, stability, Lily's therapy. She'd been having nightmares about the fire, a car that wasn't borrowed, a life. I told Lily that night, "Baby, the insurance money's coming through. We're going to get our own place, a real place, with your own room, and we'll paint it purple again if you want." She hugged me so tight. I checked my bank account obsessively for the next week. Every morning, every night. Day 6 I logged in. Nothing. Day 7. Nothing. Day 8 I called the insurance company. "Hi, this is Samantha Reese. I was told my settlement would transfer within 5 business days. It's been 8 and I don't see." "Let me check." "Okay, Ms. Reese. The transfer completed successfully on day 4, June 15th. $285,000 to account ending in 4823. My account ended in 4829. That's not my account number. I'm showing the account on file as a joint account. Primary holder, Samantha Reese. Secondary holder, Charles Whitmore. Is that not correct?" I felt the floor drop. Charles Whitmore. My father. When was that account opened?" 2008. Would you like me to? I hung up. 2008. I was 18. I just graduated high school. My dad took me to the bank to open my first checking account. He said, "Let's make it joint, just in case you need help. For emergencies." For emergencies. 17 years later, he'd used that emergency access to take my wildfire settlement. I called my mom. First time since the porch. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. She answered on the 3rd ring. Casual, like we talked every day. "Samantha, what a surprise." "Where's my money?" Silence. Then, "I was going to call you about that. Your father and I thought it was best to transfer the insurance payout to our account, for safekeeping." Safekeeping? That's my money for my house that burned down. "Samantha, calm down. You're not in a stable place right now. The divorce, no permanent housing, that child needing so much attention. We didn't want you to make rash financial decisions. This is for your own good." For your own good. I need that money. I need to put a deposit on an apartment. Lily needs. When you're stable, we'll discuss releasing it. But right now, you're too emotional. We're doing this because we love you. Because we love you. I should have hung up and called a lawyer right then. But I didn't have money for a lawyer. Because they had my money. I tried for 2 years. I called, I texted, I emailed. Every time I needed money, and I needed it constantly, I asked. When I needed $3,000 for an apartment deposit. "Not yet. You'll just move again. Wait until you're sure." When Lily broke her arm and the ER bill was $1,800 after insurance. We're not subsidizing medical bills. That's what payment plans are for. When my car died and I needed $2,500 for repairs. Maybe this is a sign you should move closer to work. We can't enable poor planning. Every single request, denied. And every single time I asked, my mom would say the same thing. "You're not ready. You're not stable. This is for your own good." Meanwhile, my brother Ryan, my older brother, the favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong, he was posting on Facebook. New Audi Q5, $52,000, vacation to Turks and Caicos. Expanding my investment firm, blessed and grateful. I started screenshotting everything, every text I sent asking for help, every one-word response or no response, every Facebook post of Ryan's new car, new watch, new life. I didn't know why I was doing it. I just knew. Someday, I might need proof. On Lily's 6th birthday, I sent my parents a text. Lily's birthday is Saturday. We're having a small party at the park. She'd love to see you. My mom responded 3 days later. Busy. One word. That's when I stopped trying. I blocked their numbers. Changed my email. If they wanted to reach me, they'd have to show up in person. And I knew they wouldn't. Because people who really want to see you, they don't close the door in the first place. Without them, without their voices telling me I was failing, without their conditions, without waiting for permission to use my own money, something unexpected happened. I started to succeed. I worked. God, I worked. Double shifts. Holiday shifts. Every overtime hour they'd give me. I lived in the cheapest apartments I could find. I wore thrift store scrubs. I ate ramen so Lily could have fresh fruit. And slowly, so slowly, we built something. Year 3, I got promoted to charge nurse in the ICU. Better pay. Stable schedule. Year 4, I saved enough for a deposit on a 2-bedroom apartment. Not gated, not fancy, but ours. Year 5, Lily started therapy for her fire trauma, started doing better in school, made friends, joined a soccer team. I started dating casually. Nothing serious. My focus was Lily, but it was nice to remember I was a person, not just a mom and a nurse. And I built a new family, not blood, chosen. My Aunt Claire, my dad's older sister, had been estranged from the family for years. Something about my mom. Claire reached out after the fire. She'd heard what happened. She'd been the one who saved the Ring doorbell footage from that night. She'd sent me $500 secretly. She became Lily's grandma figure. My co-workers who'd watched Lily during those first desperate months. Lily's best friend Emily's parents, who included us in holidays when they realized we didn't have family. We had Thanksgiving dinners, we had birthday parties, we laughed. And you know what? We were happy. I thought I'd moved on. 5 years. No calls, no texts, no apologies. I assumed they'd forgotten about me, about us, that we were just gone from their lives the way our house was gone from Ridgeview. I was wrong. Before I tell you what happened 3 weeks ago, before I tell you why my father was at that security gate, I need to know I'm not alone here. Have you ever had family treat you like you were the problem when you were the one who lost everything? Have you ever been the scapegoat while someone else was the golden child who could do no wrong? If that's you, comment "same" below. Because what I'm about to tell you only worked because I knew I wasn't crazy. I had receipts. I had proof. And if you're in a situation like this, start collecting yours now. Screenshot the texts. Save the voicemails. Document everything. Trust me on this. 3 weeks ago, Monday afternoon, I was working my shift in the ICU, 35 years old. Lily was 9. We were living in a gated apartment complex in Santa Rosa, Creekside Village. I'd saved for 2 years for that security deposit because after the fire, I needed to feel safe. I needed controlled entry, locked doors, gates. It was a good day. I'd helped save a patient that morning, trained a new nurse. Lily had texted me a photo of an A on her history test. I was refilling a patient's IV when the ward clerk called my name. Sam, security's on line 2, says it's about a family emergency. My heart stopped. Family emergency. Lily? Was Lily okay? I'd just gotten her text. But what if... Aunt Claire? She was 57, healthy, but what if... I grabbed the phone. This is Samantha Reese. Ms. Reese, this is David at the main security gate. I have a Charles Whitmore here. Says he's your father. Says there's a family emergency regarding your mother and he needs to see you urgently. Charles Whitmore. My father. 5 years of silence. And now. Emergency. My mother. Heart attack? Stroke? Car accident? Despite everything, despite that closed door, despite the stolen money, despite 5 years of nothing, a part of me still loved them. The part that remembered being a kid. The part that hoped they'd changed. The part that was conditioned to care. Should I send him up to the ICU or... No, I'll come down. 5 minutes. I told my charge nurse I had a family emergency. Took off my stethoscope. Walked to the elevator. My hands were shaking. What if my mom was dying? What if this was my last chance to... What? Reconcile? Get an apology? Hear her say she was wrong? The elevator doors opened to the lobby. And there he was. My father. Charles Whitmore. 62 years old. He looked... different. Older. Thinner. His shirt was wrinkled. He hadn't shaved. His eyes were red. This wasn't the polished, put-together man who'd closed that door 5 years ago. He stood when he saw me. Samantha. I kept my distance, professional, cold. What happened to Mom? He blinked. What? Oh, your mother's fine. She's at home. I felt my stomach drop. You said emergency? It is an emergency, but it's not. It's about Ryan. And the money. We need to talk. Not here. I wanted to walk away. I should have walked away. But he'd said, the money. The money they'd stolen from me 5 years ago. The $285,000 I'd never seen. The money that was supposed to rebuild my life. After 5 years of silence, he wanted to talk about the money. 20 minutes, I said. Coffee shop across the street. That's it. He nodded. Desperate. Grateful. We went to the Starbucks. I ordered black coffee. Fast. I wanted this over. He fumbled with his wallet. Tried to pay. I'll pay for my own, I said. We sat at a corner table. I positioned myself near the exit. He looked at me. Opened his mouth. Closed it. How's Lily? Are you kidding me? You don't get to ask that. You have 19 minutes. He flinched, nodded, took a breath, and then he said the words I'd been waiting 5 years to hear. The money's gone, Samantha. All of it. Gone where? My voice was flat, calm, but my heart was pounding. Ryan's business. It wasn't what we thought. There were investors, promises, returns that didn't materialize. It was... Say it clearly. He looked down at his coffee. It was a Ponzi scheme. He's being sued. Multiple clients. $1.2 million in claims. They're coming after everything. The house. Retirement accounts. And the money we took from your insurance. They're calling it fraud. We could lose everything. Let me make sure you understand this. My parents took my wildfire insurance money. Money for my burned house. For my homeless child, and they gave it to my brother so he could run a Ponzi scheme. And when it collapsed, they came to me. Not to apologize, to ask for help. We didn't know, my father was saying. Ryan said it was a legitimate investment firm. We introduced him to our friends, church members, your mom's book club. They all invested. And now they've all lost their money and they're suing and... How much of my money did you give him? Most of it. He needed seed capital to attract larger investors. We thought he'd pay it back with returns. We thought, you stole $285,000 from me and gave it to Ryan to run a scam. People were looking now. I lowered my voice. You left your granddaughter homeless. You told me I wasn't stable enough to have my own money. And you gave it to him? My father slid a manila folder across the table. We need you to sign these. An affidavit saying you gifted the money to Ryan willingly, as a family investment. It protects us from fraud charges. It protects the house. If you don't sign, they could take everything. Your mother and I could lose our home. We could face criminal charges. I opened the folder. Legal documents. Affidavit of gift. It said I willingly and knowingly invested $285,000 in Whitmore Financial Consulting as a family loan. This says I knew about Ryan's firm. I didn't even know you'd taken my money until it was gone. It's just wording, legal language. Please, Samantha. We're family. Family helps family. I looked at the man who'd raised me, the man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework, and told me he was proud of me when I got into nursing school. The man who'd let his wife close the door on his granddaughter. The man who'd stolen my future to fund his son's fraud. And I said, everything. You said you could lose everything. He nodded. Yes, the house, retirement, everything. Like I did, 5 years ago, when I lost everything. And you watched. His face went white. I stood up, left the folder on the table, and walked out. But I didn't go back to work. I went to the one person who'd witnessed that door. Aunt Claire. I drove straight to Claire's house, called her from the car. Are you home? I need to talk. It's about Charles and Diane. She heard something in my voice. Come over. Now. Claire met me at the door, took one look at my face and pulled me inside. I told her everything. The coffee shop, the documents, Ryan's Ponzi scheme, the $285,000, all of it. She listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said, I wish I was surprised. She went to her filing cabinet, pulled out an envelope. I kept this, from 5 years ago. I thought you might need it someday. Inside, a USB drive. When your parents got that Ring doorbell, they gave me access to the footage, for emergencies. They forgot about it, but I didn't. We plugged it into her laptop. November 14th, 2019, 11:47 p.m. And there it was, me, standing on that porch. Lily clinging to my leg. Both of us covered in ash, that suitcase at my feet. My voice, Mom, please, we have nowhere to go. Lily's face, 4 years old, crying, confused. My mother's voice through the speaker, clear as day. We're resting, Samantha. She's too loud. Try a motel. The video was 3 minutes long. I stood there for 3 whole minutes, waiting, hoping, believing the door would open. It never did. Watching it 5 years later, I saw what I couldn't see then. My mother wasn't protecting her peace. She was choosing it. Over us. They can't gaslight you about what happened that night, Claire said. We have proof. I pulled out my phone. I'd never deleted anything. 5 years of texts, emails, voicemails. Every request I'd made for money. April 2020. Need $3,000 for apartment deposit, please. Mom's response. Not ready. June 2020. Lily's medical bill is $1,800. Can you help? Dad's response. Payment plans exist. September 2020. Car died. Need $2,500 for repairs. Mom's response. Poor planning. Every single one. Saved. And next to those texts, screenshots of Ryan's Facebook. May 2020. Excited to launch Whitmore Financial Consulting. 6 months after my insurance payout. July 2020. Photo of new Audi Q5. August 2020. Turks and Caicos Beach photo. Living the dream. December 2021. Expanding the firm. Thanks to my amazing family for believing in me. I'd been eating ramen in a 1-bedroom apartment with my daughter. He'd been living the dream. On my money. Claire looked at the timeline, at the texts, at the ring footage. You could bury them with this. I don't want to bury them. I want them to tell the truth. For once. That's when Claire said it. What if you set up a family meeting? Tell your father you'll consider signing those papers, but you need everyone there to discuss terms. Your parents, Ryan, everyone. They'd never agree. They would if they're desperate. And they are desperate. I saw the trap. And then? Then you show them what you have. The video, the texts, the timeline. Make them answer for it. In front of each other? No more hiding. What does that accomplish? Ryan's victims are going to want to know where their money went, and when they find out your parents funneled your stolen insurance money into his scam, that's not family business anymore. That's fraud. That's conspiracy. I'd been thinking this was just about me, but it wasn't. There were 40+ people who'd lost their savings to Ryan's scheme. People from my parents' church, my mom's book club, retirees. And my parents had used my disaster money to help him scam them. The next day, I contacted an attorney. I used my credit union to take out a small personal loan, $2,500, for a retainer. The lawyer's name was Victoria Hayes. Family law and financial fraud. I explained everything. She listened, took notes. When I finished, she said, "This is adult child financial exploitation, and if they used your money in a Ponzi scheme, we're talking criminal fraud. What's your goal here? Sue them? Press charges? Recover the money? I want them to admit what they did, publicly, and I want Ryan's victims to know the truth. Then we need documentation, everything you have." I showed her the ring footage, the texts, the bank records. She reviewed it all over the next week. Bank statements showing the insurance deposit, $285,000 on July 15th, 2020, into my account. July 16th, 2020, transfer to joint account. Then withdrawals. $50,000 here, $100,000 there, all with memos like family loan and investment capital. I'd requested the account history the year before when I was refinancing a car loan. I'd needed to show financial stability. I'd saved everything. Victoria called me a week later. "Sam, you have enough to file criminal charges. Are you sure you want to handle this privately first? I want to see their faces when the truth comes out. Then let's prepare a presentation, evidence, timeline, and I'll join via video call. Budget-friendly, but still official." We spent the next week building the case. Insurance documentation showing the payout was issued in my name only. For my property loss, timeline showing Ryan's firm launched 6 months after my insurance payout. His business filing with the state, initial capital, $285,000. My capital, my disaster, his dream. Victoria compiled it all into a 43-page packet. Evidence of financial exploitation and fraud. "This is your armor," she said. "Don't go in there without it." I called my father. Calm. Controlled. "I've reviewed the documents. I need clarification before I sign anything." He sounded so relieved. "Of course, whatever you need. I want everyone there. You, Mom, Ryan. I need to understand the full situation. Ryan's very busy with the legal..." "Then he can make time. This affects him most, doesn't it?" Pause. "Yes. Okay. When?" "Saturday, 2 p.m., Aunt Claire's house." "Why Claire's?" "Because I don't trust myself in your house, and you're not coming to mine." He agreed. Desperate men agree to anything. "And Dad? I'm bringing a legal consultant. To review the documents. Non-negotiable." "That seems formal." "You brought me legal documents. I'm bringing legal review. See you Saturday." I hung up. 6 days to prepare. 6 days to decide if I was doing this for closure or justice. By day 3, I knew. Both. Friday night, I sat Lily down. She was 9 now, old enough to understand basics. Remember how I told you Grandma and Grandpa were taking a break from family? Yeah, because they weren't nice when our house burned. Smart kid. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to them about some grown-up stuff. Money stuff. Aunt Claire will be there. You'll be at Emily's for a play date, okay? Are you gonna be sad after? I thought about that. Maybe. But it's the kind of sad that helps you feel better later, like when you cry during a sad movie and feel lighter after. Can I come? Not this time, baby. This is grown-up business. But after this, we won't have to wonder about them anymore. We'll know where we stand. She looked at me with those serious 9-year-old eyes. Do they love us? I could have lied. But I didn't. Not the way we deserve. She nodded. Okay. Their loss. 9 years old. And she understood what took me 30 years to learn. Some people will never love you right. And that's not your fault. Okay. Before I tell you what happened in that room, before I describe the moment I played that ring footage for my parents and brother, I need to ask you something. Have you ever had someone rewrite reality on you? Tell you that what you know happened didn't happen that way? That you're misremembering? That you're too emotional or too sensitive? If you've been gaslit by family, especially about money, comment receipts below. Because what I'm about to tell you only worked because I had proof. Video, texts, bank statements, timestamps. They couldn't rewrite the past when I had it documented. If you're dealing with this right now, start screenshotting, start saving voicemails, start building your evidence file. You're going to need it. Saturday, 1:45 p.m. Aunt Claire's house. Modest, comfortable. Nothing like my parents' pristine show home in Rosewood Heights. Claire had set up her dining table like a boardroom. Chairs, her laptop connected to a projector. A notary public, her friend Janet, sitting quietly in the corner as witness. Victoria Hayes on video call. Professional. Ready. I arrived at 1:40, wearing my scrubs. I'd just come from a shift. That was intentional. I wanted them to see what I'd built, what I'd become despite them. Claire made tea. A ritual. Calming. You ready? She asked. I've been ready for 5 years. At 1:58, a car pulled into the driveway. All 3 of them. Together. United front. Of course they'd coordinated. They walked in. Charles, Diane, Ryan. My mother saw Claire first. Her face soured. I didn't know you'd be here. Claire smiled. Cold. My house. Ryan, 39. Wearing a suit. Still playing the part of successful businessman. He looked at me in my scrubs, and I swear I saw a smirk. He thought I was desperate, defeated. Here to save them? He had no idea. Where are the documents? My father asked. Sit down first. They sat. Diane pursed her lips. Ryan checked his phone. Charles fidgeted. They saw Victoria on the laptop screen. Who's that? Diane asked. Victoria Hayes, legal consultant. She's here to review anything I sign. You brought legal documents. I brought legal review. Ryan looked annoyed. This is a family matter. Funny. When did you start caring about family? Victoria introduced herself. Professional, calm. Before Samantha signs anything, we have some questions about the timeline, starting with November 14th, 2019. My mother's face went white. Victoria started gentle, strategic. Charles, you stated the $285,000 insurance payout was transferred for safekeeping. Can you explain what that entailed? My dad shifted. We were concerned Samantha wasn't in a position to manage that sum responsibly. Based on what criteria? My mother jumped in, always the one to take control. She was living in a motel, with a child. No stability. We were protecting her from making impulsive financial decisions. I sat there, quiet, taking notes. Let them talk. Let them lie. And when did you determine she was stable enough to receive the funds? Victoria asked. My father. We were waiting for the right time. 5 years is quite a wait. Ryan sighed, impatient. Can we move this along? The document's straightforward. She signs, we handle the legal mess, everyone moves on. Victoria ignored him. Ryan, when did you start your investment firm? May 2020. Why? And your initial capital came from? He glanced at my parents, just for a second, but I saw it. Family, personal savings, personal savings. He said it without blinking, like I wasn't sitting right there. Victoria looked at me, nodded. It was time. I stood up. Calm, steady. Before I sign anything, I want to make sure we all remember the same history, because memory can be tricky. I turned the laptop to face them, pressed a button. The projector lit up. November 14th, 2019, 11:47 p.m. Do you remember that night? My mother's voice was sharp. Samantha, this is unnecessary. Do you remember? My father. You came to our house. We weren't prepared for visitors. Let me refresh your memory. I pressed play. The Ring doorbell footage filled the screen. There I was, 30 years old, wearing smoke-stained scrubs, holding my 4-year-old daughter. My voice, desperate. Mom, please, the house is gone. We have nowhere to go. Lily, visible, crying, face smudged with ash. Grandma. My mother's voice through the speaker, clear, calm, final. Samantha, it's almost midnight. We're resting. My voice. She's 4. She's scared. The sky was red. My mother. She's too loud. This isn't a good time. Try a motel. 30 seconds of me standing there, waiting, hoping. The door never opening. Me finally picking up that suitcase, walking away. The video ended. Silence. My mother was pale. You recorded that? Claire spoke up. Your Ring doorbell recorded it. I just saved it. I looked at my mother. That's my 4-year-old daughter. Your granddaughter. Covered in ash from a wildfire. Crying. And you told her she was too loud. Ryan shifted. Uncomfortable. Okay, that was rough. But what does this have to do with the money? I smiled. Not a happy smile. A receipt smile. Everything, Ryan. Let me show you. I pulled up my phone, connected it to the projector. Screenshots filled the screen. After that night, I called you 12 times in 6 months. You answered twice. Let me read you my texts. I read them aloud. December 25th, 2019. Merry Christmas. Lily misses you. We're doing okay. Hope you're well. No response. February 14th, 2020. Lily's birthday next month. Can she see you? Your response, Mom. Busy. One word. April 3rd, 2020. Mom, I need help with daycare deposit. $500. Please. No response. June 18th, 2020. Got the insurance payout. But it's not in my account. Bank said it went to joint account. Can you send it? I paused. Looked at my mother. Your response? We're keeping it safe. I showed more texts. A timeline. My requests. Their rejections. Over and over. Then I switched screens. Facebook screenshots. Ryan's posts. Same timeline. March 2020. Mom and Dad threw you a birthday party, Ryan. Big one. I can see it in these photos. That was the same month I was asking for $500 for daycare. July 2020. You posted this photo. New Audi Q5. Caption, Blessed. That was the month I asked for $1,800 for Lily's medical bill, and Dad told me payment plans exist. December 2020. Family vacation. You, Mom, Dad. Mexico. I was working double shifts and sleeping on a friend's couch. Ryan's face was red now. I didn't know you were struggling. Yes, you did. Because Mom and Dad told their friends I was unstable, that I'd made bad choices, that I wasn't ready for my own money. You knew. I pulled up the bank statements. July 15th, 2020. Insurance deposit, $285,000. Account ending in 4829. My account. My name only. July 16th, 2020. Transfer, $285,000 to account ending in 4823. Joint account. Added when I was 18. The withdrawals appeared on screen, one by one. July 20th, 2020. Withdrawal $50,000. Memo. Family loan. August 5th, 2020. Withdrawal $100,000. Memo. Investment. October 1st, 2020. Withdrawal $75,000. Memo. Business capital. I looked at Ryan. Your business filing with the state of California, Whitmore Financial Consulting, LLC, established May 2020. Initial capital, $285,000. Victoria spoke from the screen. Professional. Damning. To be clear, the insurance payout issued to Samantha for total loss of her primary residence was transferred to a joint account without her explicit ongoing consent, then systematically withdrawn to fund Ryan's business venture, which we now know was a fraudulent investment scheme. My father started to speak. She was on the account. Victoria cut him off. Being a joint account holder doesn't equal consent for withdrawals of that magnitude, especially when the funds were specifically earmarked for disaster recovery. Ryan stood up. I didn't know it was her money. Sit down. My voice was cold, hard. I'm not done. I pulled up one more screen, split screen, side by side. Left side, my timeline, 2020 to 20 and 24. Living in motel, $89 per night. Working double shifts, pay stubs shown. Denied apartment, credit score too low from medical debt. Car repossession, Lily's ER bill, $1,800. Unpaid, sent to collections. My requests for help. $3,000 deposit, $1,800 medical, $2,500 car repair. All denied right side. Ryan's timeline, 2020 to 2024. Audi Q5, $52,000. Turks and Caicos vacation, $8,000. Downtown office lease, $4,500 per month. Country club membership, $15,000 per year. Rolex. Instagram post, $12,000. Victoria spoke. While Samantha was being denied $3,000 for housing, Ryan was spending $52,000 on a luxury vehicle. With her money. I looked at my parents. My voice was shaking now. First real emotion breaking through. I asked you for $1,800 to pay my daughter's medical bill. You said no. You told me I needed to budget better. And that same month, Ryan posted a photo of a $12,000 watch. I was choosing between food and rent, and he was choosing between European vacations. My mother started crying. Not sorry crying, caught crying. We did what we thought was best. And I lost it. I was standing now, voice cold but shaking. Best for WHO? You closed the door on your granddaughter because she was too loud. She was 4. She'd just lost everything she owned, and you couldn't be bothered. I pointed to the frozen image from the ring footage. Lily's crying face. You took my disaster money. Money meant to rebuild my life after a wildfire. And you gave it to him so he could play businessman. And when his scam collapsed, you came to me. For help. I looked at my father. You said blood is thicker than water. You're right. And I'm bleeding out from where you cut me 5 years ago. I looked at my mother. You said I wasn't stable. I had nothing. Because you took everything, and you called it love. I looked at Ryan. And you? You sat across from me at that coffee shop and said personal savings. You're a liar. And a thief. Because Mom and Dad introduced you to their church friends as our son who rebuilt after his sister's tragedy. You used my fire as your origin story. Don't you dare lie to me now. Ryan had no response. None of them did. I said quietly, "You didn't close the door because you were resting. You closed it because you didn't care, and I will never forgive that." Victoria cleared her throat. "Now, let's discuss what happens next." Victoria's voice was calm, legal, final. "Here's where we are. Samantha has enough evidence to file a civil suit for conversion of funds. That's a minimum $285,000 claim, plus 5 years of interest and emotional damages. We're looking at over $400,000. My father went white. "We don't have $400,000. "I know. Ryan's victims took it. Which brings us to criminal matters. Insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, elder financial abuse in reverse, adult child exploitation. The DA would be very interested in this timeline." My mother looked at me. "You'd send your own parents to jail?" I looked back at her. "You left your granddaughter homeless," Victoria continued. "However, Samantha has outlined alternative terms." I handed my father a folder. "You wanted me to sign your affidavit? Here's mine." I read them aloud. 1. Full written admission from all three of you, what was taken, when, why, and how it was used. 2. Formal written apology to Lily, acknowledging what you did and how it affected her. 3. Complete cooperation with Ryan's victim's attorney. You will provide full financial disclosure. I will testify truthfully about the source of Ryan's seed capital. 4. Permanent no-contact order. You will not contact me or Lily. Ever. This will be legally enforced. 5. If you refuse any of these terms, I file the civil suit and refer this case to the district attorney. You have 48 hours to decide. My father stared at the paper, looked at my mother, at Ryan. "Can we discuss this privately?" "You have 48 hours. After that, my attorney files." I stood up. Claire stood with me. I walked out. Behind me, I heard my mother's voice. "Samantha, you're tearing this family apart." I stopped at the door, looked back, at that frozen image on the projector. 4-year-old Lily crying on their porch. "No, Mom, you did that. I'm just showing everyone the tape." I walked to my car, shaking, adrenaline crashing. Claire followed me. "You okay?" I broke down. Not sad tears, released tears. "I did it. I actually did it." She hugged me. "I'm so proud of you." Victoria called my phone. "Sam, regardless of what they choose, you were incredible. You held your ground. What do you think they'll do?" "Charles will want to sign. Diane will resist. Ryan will try to negotiate. But his victim's attorney? Once they hear there's a money trail to your parents, that's leverage they need, they'll sign." I drove to pick up Lily from her playdate. She ran to the car. "How was it?" "Hard. But good. Like ripping off a Band-Aid." "Did they say sorry?" "Not yet. But they will. Or they'll face consequences." Lily buckled herself in, looked at me seriously. "You're really brave, Mom." "I learned from you, baby." 2 days later, Claire texted. "They signed, all 3. Certified mail arrived the next day. 3 notarized letters. Charles's admission. I, Charles Whitmore, acknowledge that I transferred $285,000 belonging solely to my daughter Samantha Reese from her insurance settlement without her explicit ongoing consent. These funds were subsequently provided to my son Ryan Whitmore for business purposes. I take full responsibility for this action and its consequences. Diane's was shorter, more legal, but it admitted the facts. Ryan's confirmed he'd received the funds. Confirmed my parents told him it was family money. Admitted he should have verified the source. And letters to Lily. Stiff. Formal. But apologizing for not being available during a difficult time. I read them alone. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't even feel satisfaction. Just closure. I filed them in a folder labeled Receipts Final, forwarded copies to Victoria, to Ryan's victim's attorney, kept the originals. Then I blocked their numbers, changed my email address, updated my emergency contacts at work, and I moved on. 6 months later, I closed on a house. Small, 3 bedrooms, 1,200 square feet. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I'd saved for 5 years, got a small inheritance when Aunt Claire's mother passed. Not much, but it helped with the down payment. 0 help from my parents. Move-in day, Lily ran through the rooms choosing her room. I stood in the doorway. Literal doorway. This door was mine, and it opened. Claire came over with a housewarming gift, a new doorbell. Not ring, just a regular one. "So you can hear people knock," she said, "and choose who comes in." I laughed. Real laughter. My chosen family threw a small party. Co-workers from the hospital. Lily's best friend's family. The people who'd shown up when it mattered. Someone asked how I'd afforded the house. I said, 5 years of saying no to everything except my daughter. They said that sounded sad. I said, no, that's love. That night, after everyone left, Lily and I sat on the front porch. Our porch. She was swinging her legs, looking at the stars. "Mom, will I ever see Grandma and Grandpa again?" I thought about my answer carefully. "Maybe when you're older. If you want to. But not now. Not while I'm protecting you." Do they love us? Honesty. Always honesty. I think they love the idea of us. Like, they love what we could be for them, what we could do for them. But they don't love who we are, the loud, messy, real us. She nodded. That's sad for them. It is. I'm glad we're loud. I laughed, pulled her close. Me too, baby. She looked up at me. And I'm glad our door opens. I looked at our front door, painted yellow. Cheerful. Welcoming. Me too. She asked one more question. Are you sad we don't have grandparents? I thought about it. We have people who show up. That's better than people who share blood. She leaned against me. Yeah. 5 years ago, I stood at a door that wouldn't open. Today, I have a door that's mine. And the only people who get to walk through it? The ones who love us when we're loud. When we're covered in ash. When we're real. Everyone else? They can keep knocking. I'm done answering for people who won't answer for me. So, that's my story. 5 years from a closed door to a door that's mine. And I want you to know something. If you're in a situation where family is using love to control you, using blood to manipulate you, using loyalty to silence you, you are not the problem. Boundaries aren't betrayal, they're survival. Have you set a boundary with family that people called harsh or unforgiving? Have you been told you're tearing the family apart when really you're just protecting yourself? Comment below. Let's normalize protecting ourselves. And if this story helped you feel less alone, share it. Because someone in your life needs to hear this. You're allowed to close the door on people who won't open theirs for you. You're allowed to build your own home. You're allowed to choose family that chooses you back. Blood doesn't make you family. Love does. Showing up does. Opening the door does. And if they can't do that, then they don't get to call it family.